This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
Jackson Brown at 9:19 on your Monday morning. So, I cut a video yesterday from the gym. My buddy Sean Sarone's Burn Fitness. It's a great song, though. In the video, I was angry again. I'm not an angry guy, but not by any stretch. But, you know, I'm aggravated with the police a little, but more with the mayor and his people. That's why the police don't do what they want to do. That they haven't designated this crime, this animal Palestinian family that punched out a nice Jewish family at a fifth grade graduation in Brooklyn. They haven't yet determined whether or not it's a hate crime. Are you nuts? Of course it is. Gary Marcus, I know you're listening. It's a hate crime. But they're afraid to do it, to designate these things because of the mayor and the politicians and all the nonsense that goes on in this city. I'm still angry they haven't found that guy who was on the train asking Jewish people to stand up, Zionists. They've got his picture on Jew Hate Database for a week. I'm angry at the mayor. I don't think he does nearly enough. He says nice things. He goes to press conferences, but they do nothing to stop this nonsense. And there's never a severe penalty. Inna Vernikov, I'm never angry at. She's a great politician there in Brooklyn. One of my best friends in the business. Inna, good Monday morning. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. I'm angry too. Not at you.
Right. Well, that's good.
At the failed leadership in our city. Look, what happened with the fight at the graduation, it's really not surprising at all because it's just a culmination of the complete and utter failure of the DOE to handle this crisis of anti-Semitism. And by the way, they have a lot of other issues. But right now, this is a very, very pressing issue for the Jewish community. And they have failed the Jewish people, the Jewish community of New York City. And this is being done under the watch of our mayor. And like you said, and I totally agree, and I know many, many Jewish New Yorkers who agree with you. There's a lot of nice things being said, but there's not much being done.
Right, and don't forget, the mayor was the guy that pinked this creep, this louse Banks. Banks is a creep. Banks is the guy, you remember this. He was the guy that was okay giving classes to teach kids about jihadists. Here in New York, jihadists, he's the same creep, and he's the same guy that will never, ever, ever make this Palestinian family pay any repercussions. And Adams picked him. So if you don't like Banks, and you shouldn't, you got to go back to the guy that picked him. That's the mayor.
This guy goes in front of Congress. They were questioning him about anti-Semitism at the DOE, a major issue. They know it. He comes very well prepared. He gets mostly softball questions, with the exception of Congresswoman Stefanik and Brandon Williams. He gets softball questions. The New York Times declares a victory for him. He says he's got this anti-Semitism problem handled. It's under control. Yes, there's a few instances here and there, but it's mostly overblown by Republicans. And meanwhile, Jewish teachers are actively being pushed out of the DOE of public schools for years. What happened in Hillcrest High School where we had an anti-Semitic riot? Where is the principal? Still on the DOE payroll. Oh, we fired him, we removed him. No, you didn't. He's still on your payroll. Sheepshead Bay, Origins High School. The two whistleblowers that have been talking about anti-Semitism for 2 years, what happened to them? They have been retaliated against. They're being moved. All their complaints ignored. In fact, complaints made against them for calling out the anti-Semitism. The DOE chancellor takes principals to the Nova exhibit to witness what happened on October 7th, the massacre, rape, and murder of Jewish innocent civilians. And what does he do the next day? He goes to an anti-Semitic mosque with an imam who is actively advocating October 7th, who is pro-Jewish genocide, who is anti-Israel. Why? Because the chancellor is a politician who is more afraid of the bad guys than he is of the good guys. That's what's happening, and nothing's being done about it.
You know, a lot of people since October the 7th have stepped up, and people, and I admit my ignorance, I didn't know how they felt before October the 7th, and many people feel that way about me. And you're one of the people I'm really most proud of, you know, and proud to be a friend of, above and beyond the politics, and I see you at events and those types of things. I mean, you know, whether it's the Israeli Day Parade, you were out there, the time when Donald Trump called you up on stage at Cipriani's, you're wearing this beautiful dress with the Israeli flag, every event in Brooklyn that takes place to defend Jewish people, you're there. So you wear your heart on your sleeve for your constituents in Brooklyn. And I wonder, because I live on the other side, I'm in Queens. You mentioned the thing in Sheepshead Bay. There was this other issue in Brooklyn, which is not your district, I don't believe, your area. How bad is it getting in your area in terms of anti-Semitism and crimes?
It's getting really bad. It's been going that way for many years. You know, I've been banging the drum on this. People weren't paying attention. They are now after October 7th. But really, people who support and donate money to the politicians in charge really need to take a strong stance against those that are doing this, because they are in charge and they have the chutzpah to come out to the public, to the press, and tell us that everything is okay, that we support you and we condemn anti-Semitism. We condemn. But where is the action? And the people the Jewish community that is supporting the politicians that could potentially change this need to be more loud, need to stand up and speak up, make their voices heard, because we can't just keep sucking up to the people that are responsible for this, okay?
I feel like the Republicans, and I know that I'm biased. I am biased. I was a young man in Brooklyn. I liked Ed Koch. I even liked Bill Clinton. I would have categorized myself as a Democrat, even though, to be honest, I didn't pay much attention to politics. My whole life was sports. I did sports talk radio for 15 years, but I never hated the Democrats. Now I literally despise Democrats. I'm willing to stop talking to people who are Democrats. I hate them. And it seems like every issue with a politician is a Democrat. I'm not hearing a lot of Republican leaders in Brooklyn or the 5 towns that have issues with Israel. It's all Democrats. Is that not the case, even by you?
Look, let's be fair. There are some on the hard right who are staunchly against Israel. And, you know, we saw a couple of days ago, right, AOC and Nick Fuentes sometimes have the same opinions. And Nick even tried to, you know, say, hey, AOC, you know, we're on the same page about this. We need to call out politicians on the right and the left that are anti-Semitic and anti-Israel. But, of course, the anti-Israel rhetoric mainly comes from the Democratic Party and the hard left of the Democratic Party. Thankfully, we still have friends like Richie Torres, but they are few too many. And I think that's the answer. We need to vote Republican. And a lot of Jews, unfortunately, are still Democrat. They're still poisoned by that, you know, by the old narrative that we need to vote Democrat. But that needs to change.
No, it's changing. I know it is changing. I see polls all the time. Trump is doing better with Jewish people, but you know, most people still seem to think that Biden will command over 60% of the Jewish vote. And lastly, while Richie Torres is great with Israel, God bless him, I appreciate that. Josh Gottheimer, the same way. Markowitz down in Florida. I like candidates that love Israel and America. And I can't say that about Richie or the rest of the Democrats. It's great that Richie loves Israel, but he makes so many decisions every day that are bad for this country. That's the difference. There are Democrats that are pro-Israel, but we need people that are pro-Israel and pro-America. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. And what I'm concerned about most as well is right now we have these old school Democrats who still support Israel and who still love America. What's going to happen when these protesters that we see in the streets become lawyers and politicians and go to Congress. I'm really concerned about that. And, the shift that could possibly take place in 10, 20 years from now. And I'm really concerned for the future of this city and this country.
As you should be, but thank God we've got people like you, Inna. Like I said moments ago, I'm so proud of you, proud to be your friend. You do great work in Brooklyn, you really do, and you're a proud voice for not just the Jewish people, but New York and America. Keep up the good work, Inna Vernikov. Thank you for stopping by today. We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, there she is, Inna Vernikov, and one of the real good ones. We've got her. We've got, I love Vicky Palladino. I love Vicky. She's in Queens, of course. And I don't want to leave anybody's name out that I don't love and respect, but those two come to mind right away, Vicky and Inna. They do such a great job.